Hey, beautiful tribe. It is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, and it is time to vibe with your tribe and feed that there prediction addiction. Did you know that there is a chilling prophecy that states specifically that when Syria falls, the world will burn? Well, friends, Syria has fallen, and we are now yet seeing another leader, as per my predictions of falling leaders, being ousted from leadership, being pushed out. So what does this mean for 2025? Will the world burn as per this prediction and prophecy? And who is behind this prophecy? We're definitely going to be talking about that one today. Speaking of leaders being taken down and changes in power, we're also seeing the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO, along with the predictive collapse of the French government. And the French government definitely is something we talked about not that long ago. And I told you I saw chaos and a collapsing and a change in leadership. And according to the media, the French government has fallen. So what really happened to the CEO? And what's going to come of this? Not only that, what's going to come of France and the rest of the world, Europe and everything else? Friends, it's getting real crazy, to say the least. We have been also talking about, of course, the arrests of high-profile celebrities for quite some time, a couple years now. And before we had the Epstein case, the P. Diddy case, and Spirit told us that that was just the beginning and that there's a whole lot more to come, friends. Well, you probably have no surprise here when you find that Jay-Z is now being thrown into the mix of lawsuits and incriminating evidence, of course, while others, like Ellen and many others, are fleeing the country. So what's next, friends? Will Jay-Z be indicted? And what's going to come of this? Well, this story in itself is going to get wild. And I have some great information and predictions revolved around that. Now, Trump has made some very concerning and very interesting choices for his cabinet. And Spirit warned us to watch those in which he surrounds himself with. Remember that? Not necessarily him, but who he surrounds himself with. And now that is very concerning with some of his picks that are surely conflict mongers in many aspects. And could this possibly bring about my past prediction revolved around huge changes to the health of Americans? Because remember, one of his members of his cabinet that he just picked is somebody that is being referred to as the lunatic farmer. So I believe that this lunatic farmer, who's going to be right aside Bobby Kennedy, is going to have a lot to do with bringing America back to good health and banning so many of these toxic chemicals that our foods in America are banned in 30 some other countries. Well, hopefully that won't be the case anymore once they get in. But I'm going to tell you my feelings around this and my feelings that of their coming accomplishments, along with some warnings about their safety and the safety of their families, because they're going after some big, powerful people, friends. And perhaps there's no coincidence that they're also now recalling raw milk products, right? You saw that, with claims that they're tainted with the bird bug. Should we be concerned? They're sure making it look like we should be concerned. And you probably should be concerned when I show you what the media has just put in our faces. Perhaps a warning, or just perhaps, it's all about to begin, according to source. January 21st, according to the source I'm going to share with you today. According to them, it's all going to break out. And that could be breakouts on January 21st. Isn't that inauguration day here in the United States of America? No coincidence there. So is another 2020 lockdown in our future? We're going to talk about that and whether or not you should be concerned. Another warning that we made was a warning to our friends down there in Indonesia. We talked about them a lot. A lot of predictions came into fruition revolved around Indonesia. And I just warned them not that long ago where I saw visions of evacuations followed by a massive volcanic eruption. This is playing out right now in Indonesia. While we had California receive that really large quake followed by all those aftershocks, Luckily, it wasn't as damaging as it could have been. So is it the quake? Is this the quake that Spirit warned us about? And you may not recall the details, but I'll bring that to you today. But Spirit told us to watch out for specific quakes because it was going to unleash other world global events. And I believe that this is a sign of the unleashing of these global events, and I'll explain that to you today. Remember months ago, Spirit told us, very interesting, right? Spirit told us that there were galactic ships heading towards the Earth from another planet. Remember that? Details that came through, I think it might have been in the channel prediction video, if you recall. And if you don't recall, and if you do recall, you'll also remember Spirit told us back when this came through that they were going to arrive and we would know of their arrival come the month of December. Friends, it's December. And apparently something's arrived in the skies because things are getting out of hand when it comes to crazy sightings that are being called drones by mass media. And perhaps they are. Like those that are over New Jersey, Argentina, all over the place. It's not just United States. It's just in the United States, they're calling them drones. And I have friends in that area that have seen them and state that they sound like drones. So what are they exactly, and what's really going on here, friends? And if the government's in on this, why? What's the plan? Interesting stuff today. So many strange things are happening and igniting all over the globe, friends. Just as Spirit told us, it's going to get real. We haven't even stepped into 2025 yet. I also have some concerning Disney gossip for you today, and some clips to show you that could be quite disturbing to many. So many strange things are igniting all over the planet, along with some really concerning things. I'm going to share all that. We're going to delve deeply into the rabbit hole, including the rabbit hole of Disney and the gossip revolved around Disney, and some disturbing clips to show you. At least I was disturbed by them. I'm sure you will be too. All this on episode number 145. And you know what time it is.
It's Teatime, baby.
Beautiful tribe. I hope you're having a great day today on this Tuesday, December 10th, at least when I'm recording this, just before 2 p.m. here Mountain Time in Sedona, Arizona. And if you're new here to the channel, welcome to the channel, and welcome everybody back to the channel. If you're new here and you want accurate predictions, prophecy, truth, and you want to vibe with this awesome tribe, be sure to smash that subscribe, the bell, and all so that you get notifications, friends. And be sure to check your notifications. I am here relatively every Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on where in the planet you reside, where on our beautiful planet you reside. And FYI, I will not be here next week, unfortunately. I have things I have to tend to next week. So after today's show, I will be disappearing for a while. Although on Sunday, I am working on my 2025 predictions still. And on Sunday, I have a live Zoom event that you can participate in and be a contribute to. The details are down below in the newsletter, or you could just go to my website, josephtittel.com, Tittel, or spiritmanjt.com. Also, on New Year's Day, usually I always go live 18 years in a row with the predictions, but this year I'm recording them like last year, and they'll be put out in different segments. But I will still go live on New Year's Day. And when I do, I'm going to do a Q&A on New Year's Day for 2025 world predictions. Not personal stuff, world stuff. So you can participate in that by leaving the letter Q followed by quotations and one question. Those that ask multiple questions are just going to get deleted. It's one question, and there's no guarantee I'll get to all of them. But we'll hang out on New Year's Day and get to as many as we can. Also, sign up for the free newsletter down below. It's free. You'll get all the numerology, astrology, and all the content for the past month, each and every month. Check it out And it's free. And that way you always know and you're always keeping track of where I'm at and what I'm doing. Shall we move on to episode? Ooh, I almost spilled my tea, baby. Episode number 145, friends.
Of tea time, baby.
We are slowly creeping out of the current energy shift in the Mercury retrograde direct, as we are also heading towards the December full moon. The same day, actually, December 15th, Mercury, we step into the post-shadow of the Mercury retrograde, and then we have the moon shining brightly in the sign of Gemini on the 15th. That is going to offer us all this final opportunity in 2024 to let go and release all of that which no longer serves our highest potential from this past year, 2024, and previously. You may be noticing, as we're heading towards this full moon, some things coming up from the past, maybe some emotions that need to be addressed. All of this is to help us to release when this full moon energy comes rolling in on the 15th, friends. It's going to be amazing, actually. It's going to be intense, but it's going to be amazing. So the full moon is going to be super intense in this final round of 2024. So I tell you to pay very strong attention to your nighttime dreams. In Night Land, our dreams are going to be heightened extremely during this time period coming up, along with your intuition. You can also expect to perhaps experience small spiritual awakenings or witness small, little awakenings for those around you, which would be nice. While also at the same time, you may perhaps witness some paranormal activities, some paranormal experiences or events. This is a great time to go out ghost hunting, especially on that full moon on the 15th. Just stay away from places like Bradshaw Ranch because you might go missing. Just saying. Not very good experiences. I did videos on that Bradshaw Ranch. You can go back and look. It's very much like the Skinwalker Ranch, but in its own little different creepy way. And it's a magical and creepy way. So you may also receive not only paranormal experiences, but also perhaps some strong signs and such from your deceased loved ones or even ancestors. Perhaps you may experience also prophetic dreams or even visions of your own of the future. But watch what you wish for in the way of visions, because I can tell you firsthand, visions of the future is not always fun. And when I was younger, it would consume me and it would really stress me out. Honestly, it doesn't do that because now I just do it, plug in and unplug. So watch what you wish for. And unfortunately, again, I'm not going to be here next week for tea time as I normally would have planned. So I will throw this out now into the mix that solstice is approaching as well. And I won't be here to tell you about it, but you'll know it's coming. And this rings in yearly, of course, on December 21st. Both the longest and the shortest day of the year, depending on what side of the planet you reside. We also step in to Capricorn season on the 21st, which is a very grounding time, friends. It is a time to reflect. And speaking of reflection, utilize the solstice. This is very powerful, friends. Utilize this. On the solstice, reflect on all your blessings over the past year since the last solstice of December 21st of 2023. Reflect on all your blessings, but also reflect on all your challenges and all the lessons that have made you stronger at this point. Take time, this is where it gets real powerful. Take time to sit back and write a letter of gratitude to the universe. As thank you, universe. This has been an amazing year, and I learned this lesson or what have you. Write a whole nice big letter to the universe of gratitude. And then when you're done that, write a second letter of gratitude as if the date just changed from December 21st, 2024 to December 21st, 2025. As if you're a year ahead. And in that letter, you're going to write it as if you already lived through the year of all that in which you wish to manifest and all that you're blessed for and you will be blessed for and thanking the universe for a year from now. It's a very powerful window, friends. Very powerful window of time, and I hope you utilize it to the best of your advantage. And I want to just take a moment, in case I don't have a moment to do so before, to wish you and your family a very magical and blessed holiday season and an even more amazing 2025 and beyond. Speaking of the past year, friends, if what we have been seeing and witnessing occurring all over the planet in the past few years is any sign at all of what is to come in our future, then hold on tight, friends, because 2025 is going to be a wild ride. Don't be scared, be prepared, of course. And remember, your thoughts and words are the blueprints to the future. So if you're plugged into fear and plugged into all the things you don't want, that's what universe is going to give you. Just because the world's in chaos or parts of the world are in chaos, it doesn't mean that chaos has to affect our personal lives. As long as we tap into our intuition, always hold in the light what you want instead of what you don't want. And know in your heart that that's the way it's going to be. Because as Spirit told me a long time ago, there'll be people running around, pulling out their hair, screaming, Armageddon's here, oh my God. Then there'll be the other side. It's a beautiful day. What can I do to help humanity and the planet? What side of the fence you on? I know what side of the fence I'm on. So this brings me to what some will call some past predictions that could also link to some future predictions. And this stems along with a very creepy, and some will say scary, prophecy. A prophecy that comes from the Bulgarian blind psychic, or some say prophet, Baba Vanga. Now, I did a full video on Baba Vanga, her history, her predictions, and what she says for the future. I did a whole thorough video on that in the past. I'll try to remember to put a link up above. If the link's not up above, you can find all the links down below in the description. But I will remember to get the Baba Vanga video in the links that float up above at points of the video. Be sure to check it out. So Baba Vanga tongue-tied. She specifically predicted and states, and I quote, "When Syria falls, a great war between the West and the East will follow. In the spring, a conflict will ignite in the East, leading to a third world war. A war that will destroy the West." Pretty creepy, friends. And as you know, Syria has fallen. And this also fulfills one of my past predictions, again, of the fall of leaders and changes of power, which is going to continue as we step into 2025. So Assad, of course, the leader of Syria, well, previous leader of Syria, because he's been pushed out of Syria, now hiding out in Russia, apparently, and allegedly. And the country has been taken over by even worse people, like way worse people. Interesting enough, friends, she also stated in that prophecy that in the spring, she said, right? A conflict will ignite in the East. The East, I would easily guess, is the Middle East and Israel, right? Which is already stuff igniting there. She goes on to state that this will all lead to WW3, right? And that it would destroy the West. I hope she's not talking about referring to the United States as the West. Now, she was in Bulgaria, so I don't know if their map in their mind's different than what's going on. And she didn't specifically say, she just said East-West. And I don't think it would be the United States, but it wouldn't surprise me. Because I know for a fact, intuitively by the spirits, that they're putting DT in purposely to make him take the fall for all of it. All of what? You'll have to tune into my 2025 predictions for that one. So now the global elite, we do know the global elite wants nothing more than to bring down America and the economy. And that's the way to do it, is to bring down the economy, can bring down America. And they will succeed in bringing down the economy. And they'll do so on Trump's watch, 100%. And Spirit's been telling us that. Next year's a 9 year. Ending his death of cycles, letting go of, getting rid of. What a perfect year for them to do doom and gloom on the planet. Just saying. We have to hold in the light differently. So what I find really interesting with the Baba Vanga prophecy of Syria is that she mentions that spring, in the spring. Well, Syria, this all just happened, right? We're in the winter, going into the winter. So working on my predictions, I was working on my predictions before all this happened with Syria for 2025. Just notes. I get things that randomly come to me. I run to the computer and I type in the notes, and then I go in and I do more. And I'm at that do more point right now this week. So I strongly kept getting pulled when I look at the calendar for 2025 to the months March and April. So when I delved a little deeper into that time period, looking at the I didn't look at the astrology much as I looked at numbers and such. But I also looked at the moon phases and such. And March 14th, we have the lunar eclipse, right? And spring equinox is usually between the 21st and 23rd, or the equinox, depending on where in the world you are. But spring equinox, specifically, especially for the east and the west, falls usually the 21st to the 23rd of March. So on the 14th of March, we have the lunar eclipse, kicking in eclipse season for 2025. Eclipses, they're mentioned all throughout Bible prophecy. Eclipses always mark off pivotal points in the world, pivotal events that happen in the world. Here's where it gets even more intense, friends, because not only do we have the full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th, which also steps us into the energy shift, that 14-day energy shift, and also the direct Mercury retrograde, followed by then the solar eclipse that happens on the 29th, right after spring equinox. I have no doubt she's onto something, no doubt, because that window of time is going to be hugely significant for the world. And unfortunately, we are already in WW3, but we'll talk about that later. Let's go back to Baba Vanga, because this is another thing she said. Syria will fall at the feet of the winner, but the winner will not be the one. The hell does that mean? I'll say it again. Syria will fall at the feet of the winner, but the winner will not be the one. That seems a bit confusing if you ask me. Although the first part of her prediction seems very plausible at this point, because we are now seeing the fall of Syria by groups that are going to actually continue. These groups that just went into Syria, they're going to continue to move towards Israel, according to Spirit, and other countries, including even Poland. So this is a very dangerous thing that's happening in turn for the entire world, friends. Very dangerous thing that's happening. Even though Syria is just this little country on the map, this whole event marks off significant events, along with the massive volcano that just erupted in Indonesia. The earthquakes that Spirit said there'd be an earthquake exactly on the map that where it happened in California. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But Spirit did say that the earthquake would mark off a significant period of time, along with the volcano. Wait until the volcano erupts in the United States. That's when the crap's going to hit the fan, friends. That's coming. That could even come before the end of this year. It would not surprise me. But more likely, I'm thinking, looking at these dates and all, that window of time. March. Oh, here comes UPS. Packages. So, my doorbell's going to bark like a dog. You'll hear it in a minute. Oh, I don't know if you will hear it, but... So I lost my spot because I was thinking about the volcanic eruptions. So that last part, that last thing she said seems a little vague, a little bit confusing. And we see what's happening. And these groups are going to continue to move towards Israel and other countries. This is really dangerous for the world, as we all know. And this makes even more sense of what Spirit told me back. And then didn't interrupt my video. Okay, he's gone, friends. He's gone. Package delivered. I have no idea what he delivered. I don't think I'm expecting anything, but I do have a little bit of an ordering addiction this time of year. And I can't order anything now because I am got to go away for a little while, unfortunately. So this is goes back to a past prediction that I made, where Spirit told me back in 2017. I did a video on it. And we've talked about it many times since. That Spirit told me 2025 to 2032 would be the most challenging time on the planet for humanity. Now we know why. What did Baba Vanga mean when she said the world will burn? We've been seeing the world burn with wildfires like crazy, right? Next year, unfortunately, will be a year where fires will be unprecedented. Not just wildfires, and I see cities burning. I don't know what cities. Again, I'll tune more into this in my 2025 predictions. But I saw cities burning in the United States as well. And I saw newspaper articles that said city burns, which feels like a repetitive pattern. If you go back in history, I think I showed you all that a while back, maybe a year ago. All these city fires that happen here in the United States, it's like weird. You got to go back, do your little research on it. Go down that rabbit hole. You'll be shocked. It's pretty crazy, friends. Just Google city fires, United States, and go down that rabbit hole. It's quite a rabbit hole. It's pretty wild. And that's why I feel you look at that, it's all the more reason that we're going to see that happen in the near future. If I were to guess what city, this is just a guess, I would guess 2. Chicago would be my first guess. And then New York City, of course. I don't believe it'll necessarily be either one, so don't take that serious. It's just a guess. I'm not even asking the spirits. I'll do that for my predictions for 2024. But remember, 2025 is a 9-year. Endings, death of cycles, letting go of, getting rid of. 2032 is a 7-year. The 7's all about spiritual ascension, all about changing our beliefs and shifting what we believe in completely. Wouldn't it make sense that Spirit told me the new earth, when I was a teenager, Spirit said new earth 2032. I believe that's still the case. What a better time to start a new ascension time for humanity would be 2032. That period, 2025 to 2032, is 7 years. Perhaps the 7 years of tribulation, not necessarily that of the prophecy of the Bible, but definitely, according to my spirit, it's going to be an intense time period. Another thing that concerns me, and I have to, again, go deeper with this one, with the spirits, is that Spirit told me to get out of Pennsylvania by 2025. They didn't tell me why. They just told me I personally needed to be out of there. And I am, thankfully. I got out of there in 2019. I don't know if that was because of my own personal soul contract, which could be very likely. That if I would have stayed there, maybe I wouldn't have ventured much past, maybe I would have had an exit point, for example. Which I believe is the case, actually. Now, was that exit point natural causes? Probably. Or could there be a big event that happens on the East Coast of the United States? I mean, look, we have all these UFOs and all this activity happening right over New Jersey. Again, I'll go into that a little bit deeper later. But let's move on to our next topic. Leaderships in the fall of the cabal. Wouldn't that be lovely, friends? Because Spirit has been telling us for quite some time that we were going to witness the fall of so many leaders, both politically and big corporate CEOs. And first, we had the CEO takedown in New York City of the United Healthcare CEO, which the trigger man, as you know by now, has been arrested. And boy, oh boy, they're going to like him in prison. Because, ladies, he's easy on the eyes. And apparently, according to my friend that I talked to earlier, he's from a dynasty family. Perhaps, like I said, a hitman. Not knowing what he was really doing. Because we know about that CIA technologies, right? We know all about it. I showed you the patents. They can get in your head and make you do things. Which is so creepy to me. So freaking creepy to me. So now we have not yet heard exactly why he committed such a heinous crime. Apparently the kid had some back issues or something, so probably he had issues with the United Healthcare, which isn't a reason to do such a horrible thing at all, ever. Now, remember, Spirit tells me today that this is just going to unleash a monster of energy that is going to push people to follow in the same footsteps by taking revenge in their own hands. Not a good idea. We are also going to see major growth in these, what Spirit called Robin Hoods. Robin Hood wannabe vigilantes. That's what Spirit said. We're going to see a big growth in Robin Hood vigilantes, wannabe vigilantes. So hold on tight, friend. Like I said, 2025 is going to be a wild ride, friends. Wild ride. So a flashback, let me give you a flashback to about a year ago. In December 2023, I put out the top prediction videos for 2024. And in that piece, I predicted again the fall of leaders. So this goes back to my 2024 world predictions, the fall of leaders, changes in power. And I even stated specifically that they would push Biden out of place, which they did, friends, as you know. Check it out.
Another
thing we're going to see a lot in 2024, which is in my New Year's Day predictions, is a lot of eliminations, if you know what I mean. Changes in power. Big changes in power. So I believe that they won't be successful in taking out Trump, but they will be successful in moving Biden out of their way. And this could mean that very well that Trump will be the shocking winner. They certainly pushed Biden out, just as I stated in that video, and Trump also definitely won. As I told you way back in 2017 that he would win a second term. People think he's going to save everything, and they're just going to make him the trigger man for world global events that take place. They're setting him up for failure. So we have to hold in light that not just him, but all global leaders shift to an energy that is for the best of all of us. So about a month ago, we warned our friends over there in France. And I warned that France, that Macron, and the government was going to fall. And it has, according to media reports anyway. I feel strongly, friends, that there's a lot of chaos that is about to break out in France and throughout Europe. I saw visions of the Brexit sign. I didn't even know that was a thing. Is it even a thing, friends? I don't know. I'm not from Europe. But I saw Brexit spelled out in cinder blocks, right? That's what it looked like, rock cinder blocks, if you know what cinder blocks are for building. But it said Brexit. And then I saw it crumble. I saw it crack like lightning struck it. I didn't see lightning, but it was like that. It's like something struck it, and it just shook and fell into little pieces. I thought that was very interesting. What could it mean, though? I could take this as a falling apart of the entire system, actually. That's what I would take it as, a falling apart of the entire system over there in Europe. Protest in the streets, and some type of emergency-like elections that are going to be taking place in France and several other countries in 2025. Emergency elections. Well, taking out people, with the ASS word. ASS word. Yeah, that's going to be a big thing next year. I hate to say it. Big thing. And I said that for this year, and we saw it. I told you that they were going to try to go to get Trump. I told you they'd shoot him in the right side. Trump's still in grave danger, because I see him being hit again. I believe in the right shoulder, like I said back in the time. Even though it was right ear, I still feel like he's going to take another hit. So again, so our friends in France, emergency elections to me would also bring about, again, the predictions of falling leaders to a whole nother level, of course, in the near future. We're also going to see an abundance of changes in leadership in the near future before this year even comes to an end, before we even get into 2025, but more so in 2025. I saw visions of major protesting taking place all over Europe, France, the United Kingdom, and many others, especially as the economic systems begin to crash harder and harder. When that occurs, this is going to include Japan, Australia, and New Zealand as well. I also see major issues and changes in power when it comes to Brazil and all over South America, but Brazil was a strong one that popped out. I see a lot of chaos happening in Brazil. This brings us to roundups and arrests, which reminds me of a video session I did, a channeled session I did, where I saw visions of, and this was last year, November or December of last year. I saw buses being loaded with people and people being pushed on buses and rounded up. Separately, I had visions of high-profile arrests and basically the dark SUVs going into, say, a city street, pulling outside of a big building and going in and arresting CEOs. So I saw all those in that channel prediction video. And not only that, the prediction that I made of the fall of leaders. All of this coincides with my prediction revolved around the fall of Hollywood, the fall of the music industry, and bringing about, of course, major truths and major high-profile arrests. And we witnessed that first. We had the Cosby case, but then we had the Weinstein case, the Epstein case. It's a whole lot of Steens right there, friends. A whole lot. And well, no surprise now that Jay-Z has been thrown into the mix. thrown into the mix of lawsuits and incriminating evidence, while others, like Ellen, continue to flee the country. So what's next, friends? Is he going to be indicted? Well, if you watch mass media at all, you would have noticed how they very quickly came to the defense of Jay-Z, basically dismissing all the horrific charges, acting like it never happened, again, taking his defense. These are the same charges that Sean Combs is sitting behind bars for. So why is one sitting behind bars and not both? I do see Jay-Z's home being raided by police, along with other high-profile people in the music industry. For some reason, Bieber gets wrapped into this with the police. I don't know how, but I see him being wrapped into it. So expect to see Jay-Z and his very sad, abused wife to flee the country, along with other celebrities, in the next few months. I'd be willing to bet that they end up leaving the country before or right after Christmas, before the New Year's comes. I bet, friends, they're packing up right now and getting ready to board their very big private jet, likely heading to New Zealand with all the others who have already fled the country. And it's not going to do any good at all, according to the spirits. They are going to face their karma in the coming years, over the next 2 to 3 years, especially when another Epstein-like case comes to the light directly out of Hollywood. It's a big one, friends. Huge. Bigger than Epstein. Who do you think it is? I want to know in the comments. Remember, please do. If you love this content and you're still here, please do hit that love button, because it helps the channel grow. Because, you know, they like to hide things in the shadows here, especially my content. So please get it out. Share it with others. Sharing is caring. And when you hit that like, it's showing the algorithms so you get more content like this on your page. So they're all fleeing. They love to go to New Zealand, friends. It's one of their favorite places to go, isn't it? That's where all the underground bunkers are. Speaking of underground bunkers, did you ever catch my video, Billionaire Bunkers and Safe Zones? I know a lot of you are new here, and this was a couple years ago, I think I did that video. It's more like a documentary. And I don't just talk about billionaire bunkers in the underground cities with video footage of these underground cities that our government has, but I also show you channeled information and maps of the future Earth and what it looks like in safe zones. I'll be sure to try to make sure it floats up above the link. If not, check the description down below. Billionaire bunkers in safe zones. It's a good one. You'll like it if you didn't see it before. I liked it. I had fun doing it, actually, and all the research that went into it. So going back to this whole thing, they're packing up their jet, friends. I guarantee you they're packing up their jet and they're heading out. But this is going to come to light, especially when this big case comes out of Hollywood that's way bigger than Epstein. Speaking of Hollywood slime, I just had to put a few clips together for you, my beautiful friends, today, and that I find both revealing and extremely disturbing around Hollywood, and more specifically, the Disney Corporation. Some of this you may have seen before, but some of you might be shocked in what I'm about to present to you. But before I do, I'm going to tell you that I see major issues rising up for the Disney Corporation, including major drops in stock prices. So if you have stock in Disney, you might want to unload that in the near future. Including major drops in their stocks, resignation of several Disney corporate heads, and lots of disturbing truths being revealed, including cases of missing children being linked to the company in the future. No surprise there, right? It will be when it comes out to the light, though. And the sad part about this, in my eyes anyway, is the fact that they have put this out in our faces for a very long time and a long time ago. Actually, since Disney first evolved. The very first evolved. Like the mouse and the Swiss cheese. Are you familiar with that one? It's beyond disturbing, friends. Especially being a... If you remember, actually, I saw this first. Not if I remember. You might remember. But I saw this first when I was a really little kid. And I had no clue. It was just a mouse cartoon in black and white. And I forget where I saw it, but I remember watching it when I was a kid. Probably, I don't know, on the Mouseketeers or something when we were little ankle biters ourselves. So in this clip, you're going to witness for yourself the actual perversion that Hollywood has always put right in front of our faces. Right in front of our faces. Check it out. I'm going to mute the sound here. I am muting the sound here because it's basically the mouse whistling while he works. So observe the things very closely, friends. Observe very closely. First, how the holes in the cheese are being made. And then watch his left hand closely as he tosses the cheese, and you see his hand go back and basically shows you how he's making the cheese smelly by rubbing his hands in a special little smelly spot and then rubbing it on the cheese and then poking little holes in it. That's creepy. That is beyond creepy, actually, friends. Can't even believe that was allowed on television. But it was, which tells you something big, right? It's all one big web of darkness. Big old web of darkness, friends. Truly disturbing. That's not all. It gets better. Well, worse, one or the other. They also warned us of their Illuminati memberships. The illuminated ones, as they call themselves. And this clip right here, taken from one of the Duck episodes. Loved Donald Duck when I was a kid. Loved Donald Duck. More than Mickey. I like Donald. And you'll see here, he's lying in the doctor's getting an exam. And if you read very closely on the back, you'll see on the eye doctor's board, it's spelled out very clearly. Ask about the illuminated ones. Again, friends, in your face. In your face. Well, if you think that's disturbing, it gets even better, tribe. Many speculate that the symbolism around Nickelodeon is also in our face reference to the Hollywood elite's desires for the little ones, if you know what I mean. So here we have the symbol for the network, which appears to be like a floating island. And here is an island, a very sinister island, owned and ran by a man by the name of J.E., who's now not with us any longer because he was allegedly took his own life in prison. Now, put them side by side. And it truly looks like a perfect match, friends. Perfect match. No coincidences there. No, none at all. And you may say it's conspiracy, many will. And perhaps it is. But what about Pinocchio? Pinocchio. Yeah, you heard me right. You heard me correct. Disney's, of course. Pinocchio. Which I do remind you that Pinocchio, in case you didn't know, was first produced and put out and released back in the year 1940. Which is pretty amazing for the 1940s, the work that went into that. But that's when it first came out. And this tells a whole story, in my opinion. And I'll have to narrate this for you because I just have to. How would you blocks like to make some real money? And who do we have to? No, nothing like that, you see. I'm collecting stupid little boys. You know, the disobedient ones who play hooky from school. And I take them to Pleasure Island. Oh, Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island? But suppose the law, they... No risk there. No risk. They never come back as boys. Pleasure Island, huh, friends? I remember Disney World way back in the day. They actually had a Pleasure Island that floated out there, which was basically a floating nightclub where people went to drink. You know, it was a big party and had a spinning dance floor and, you know, allegedly some very perverted things went down there at that Pleasure Island back in the day. And therefore, to the point that they were forced to close Disney's Pleasure Island. Using, of course, some other excuse. to cover their tracks. So it gets even creepier, friends, because when you see Pinocchio, you see all the little ones right here being unloaded from the ship and sent to this island that appears to be fun like a carnival, when in reality, we all know what really happens to them. They never come back as boys. Creepy, right? What did they come back by? They probably come back in a box. Or they just never come back. It gets even creepier than that, friends, when we look at Pinocchio. And we look at this clip of all the little ones being unloaded from the ship and sent to an island that appears to be fun like a carnival. Just what a kid would love to do, right? Yeah, I'll get on the boat to go to the free carnival. When in reality, we know what really happens to them. They never come back as boys, he says. Creepy. 1940. It's a long time ago. So imagine how evolved they are now. So if you think that one island owned by J.E., if you think that island itself, which was bought by another billionaire, and according to Spirit, the same things still go on that island. It's just owned by somebody else. Interesting enough. That's even creepier to me. But Spirit showed me that there are several islands which such activities are taking place that are even more disturbing than that which goes on beneath our feet. Actually, what is more disturbing is what goes on right beneath our feet. And the hell beneath our feet. We talked about it before. The underground tunnels, the towns, the cities beneath. The ones that are controlled by the dark ones. The true hell. That is the true hell that lies beneath us. And that's likely, if you think about it. Maybe that's where Christianity teaches that hell's down. You're going to hell, right? That's what they say. Below our feet. No coincidence, friends, that there really is a hell going on beneath our feet and not the one with that we're taught in religion. Well, I would also tell you, friends, to expect there to be major breaks in Hollywood, the music industry, and with politicians and high-profile company heads. Because I see, as I have in the past, and for a couple years now, large amounts of shocking arrests in these dark, evil, underground secret organizations that are littered with crime and levels of unimaginable rescues that are going to happen. Things that are unimaginable beneath our feet. But major rescues are happening in 2025. Remember, the 9 vibration of 2025 is about humanitarian efforts, humanitarian caring, and all that. So we hold in the light that with that 9 vibration, this is going to bring about major rescues of little ones and others being held captive in these dark places. It's going to happen. No doubt about it. And we're finally going to see these people that have been trapped and enslaved are going to see the light. And they can begin their very long, hard journey of healing. Which I could imagine. It's unimaginable. I wouldn't want to imagine those poor people. Hold in the light. Pray for them. And pray for the light to bring all the darkness out in 2025. And so it is, friends. And so it is. The spirits told us a long time ago, earlier this year, to keep our eyes to the skies. And more people were keeping their eyes to the skies, looking for strange activity than probably ever before. I touched base on this, of course, last week. But it just seems important now because that we have this crazy sky drone, UAP, UFO events happening that are off the charts. It's happening all over. It's weird. It's beyond weird. It's kind of slightly creepy, but kind of cool at the same time because, we always love a mystery, don't we? I do. So, like I stated last week, that Cliff High web bot thing that actually was right on target when it came to the Rogan interview, right? And then it said 39 days after the Rogan interview that we would be witnessing some type of war in the skies. 39 days later is when we started to see crazy sky phenomena happening, especially over there in New Jersey, Argentina, Brazil. The list goes on, friends. On and on. And they said the conflict, we're not seeing the conflict in the skies, thankfully for that. But hold on tight, friends, because it's coming. So much is coming and so much is going to be hitting that it's going to be a bit overwhelming for many people. Don't be overwhelmed by it, friends. Remember, Not everything is not as it appears to be, is what Spirit told me. Nothing is as it appears to be, is what Spirit said. So don't jump to conclusions. And remember, the elite want you to be into negative emotions, fear the biggest one of all. Don't be concerned. Ride it like it's all a show, friends. It's all a nice little show that they're putting on for us, right? Remember, the global elite, they want you to be concerned. They want you to be in fear. They want you to rebel. And they want you to rebel against each other. Don't do it. We must not feed into this, friends. Now, what's really interesting is that mass media actually picked up the story finally, like ABC. Picked up the story calling them drones. Are they drones? According to a few of my friends that live in Pennsylvania and Jersey that witnessed this, they all say they do sound like drones. You can hear them buzzing in the sky. We know that UAPs and UFOs, they don't have sound, right? So let me actually flash back to some past predictions where Spirit told us in 2024 world predictions that we would continue to see increased sightings and record-breaking numbers in 2024, which is exactly the case, friends, at least lately anyway. You may also recall a few months back that Spirit showed me a fleet of galactic ships that were heading towards Earth. Remember that? And Spirit told us that they would arrive and that we would know of their arrival come the month of December. It's just wild to me. That was a couple months ago. At least 2 months ago, the Spirit told us that they were heading towards us and that they would arrive in December and they would make themselves known. If they're not making themselves known as drones, that wouldn't make sense now, would it? Now, it even gets even more interesting because right around that same time, that Spirit said they were heading towards our way and that we would know about it by December. We also had another thing that happened. The James Webb Telescope allegedly caught on its scope something heading straight towards the Earth. Here's a clip to remind you.
Alexa, what has the James Webb Telescope detected heading towards Earth?
From Geopolitical.io. The James Webb Telescope had spotted an armada of alien ships heading toward Earth at near light speed.
Now, of course, friends, the fact checkers are, for the most part, debunking such a discovery of incoming ships from the James Webb Telescope from another galaxy. But even Jesus did tell us, the Holy Bible says, signs will appear in the heavens. And the heavens is the skies, friends. And Spirit told us to keep our eyes to the skies. So what are all these sightings all about? So let's first look at actually this piece that comes from ABC News. And this is just video. I'm not going to play the actual news story, but just the video of the flying drones, as they're calling them. Some reports claim that they are as large as a vehicle, friends. As large as a vehicle. That's pretty large. We also have another interesting clip that comes from Argentina as well. Check out this clip from Argentina.
Es como que a veces se ve más, es como que van de un lado para el otro, boludo. A veces están muy cerca, son están muy cerca, claro. Hoy a su lado. Sí, bueno. No, van a 2 por hora, culero, que se están filmando. Qué por la baja rapidísimo, amigo. Rapidísimo, es como un avión.
What is that? Yeah, what is going on? Yeah, that is bizarre, dude. Like, what's going on, man? Like, there's one circling. You see that one circling over there? And then they go away.
See, like, it almost looked like how they had, like, the small lights on it.
Yeah, like, what is happening?
Yeah, look at it trail behind there.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how they're circling so close.
Yeah, what is going on there?
Whatever's trailing behind them just disappeared.
Yeah, then it's gone.
So, friends, this is happening all over the world. I did a live last week, I did my Teatime live too because the audio didn't work out. But I also did another live about the UFOs and everything. And we talked about this, and I showed you all kinds of different clips of different UFOs. But there's more now. We had the Argentina, and this is happening in the United States even more so, especially in the United States, where they're calling them, of course, drones. But then we had them flying over military bases. Remember, months ago, all of a sudden they were flying over that military base. I don't even know if I talked about that story, but it was a big story a couple months ago. I think back in September. So interesting enough, I know for a fact that the military absolutely positively has technology that automatically sends drones back to their launch base. How do I know this? Well, here in Arizona, near the notorious Bradshaw Ranch, which I did videos on. You can go look up my videos on the Bradshaw Ranch. I haven't been back since me and my friend Barry and his wife at the time went to Bradshaw Ranch one night. It was not a good experience because we couldn't get out of bed for 3 days after. Something very negative happened to us, not to mention the missing time that we had. So that's all real. And you don't realize it until it happens to you. On a different subject, so the Bradshaw Ranch, they even did, the Skinwalker Ranch crew went to Bradshaw Ranch. And this happened to them actually as well. But I saw this happen in person to someone else because there is a secret military base nearby. Actually, this picture behind me, that is out front of my house. That Rock Butte on the other side of that Rock Butte mountain is referred to as secret forest. Except it's no secret that there's a military base underneath there. No doubt about it, friends. I know there is. I know for many reasons. First reason is me and my sister saw the Black Ops helicopter that was following us, actually, near Bradshaw Ranch, disappear right into the side of the Rock Butte mountain. It would have crashed. It just didn't go over the mountain. It went right into the mountain. Saw it very clearly with my own eyes. Not only that, anyone that tries to fly, and this is in Boynton Canyon is where it is. Boynton Canyon, Arizona, in Sedona. More like the outskirts. It's kind of the middle of nowhere. It's pretty cool if you ever go to Arizona, Sedona. Rent a four-wheeler and go into Boynton Canyon. You'll have a blast. Stay away from that Bradshaw Ranch, though. Or you'll have Black Ops helicopters following you around and people in SUVs like it happened to me. So what I seen people do is they send drones over towards Bradshaw Ranch and towards where the helicopter disappeared. And all of a sudden, the drone automatically turns around and comes back and lands. The remote controls totally go dead. The person controlling the drone no longer has control over it. They've done this continuously. And they even did it on that Skinwalker Ranch video. You've seen them do that when they went to Bradshaw. I think it's called Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, I think was the show. So our military has the technology to move them out of the way. And I'm sure they have technology they can send up like their Mountain Dews, and take them right out of the sky. It'd be so easy for them to do. I would call it, what would they call it? Geofencing. That's what it is, geofencing. There's a geofence around the secret, not so secret military base because you can't fly a drone over. Now, I bought a drone and then I crashed it, so I'm hesitant to buy another one. But I wanted to buy a drone and go over that mountain to see if it will come back. I'm sure it will if it comes back the other direction. Because between this mountain, the secret forest, Boynton Canyon, it's all kind of in that area right there. Interesting, friends. I'm looking forward to our future and the amazing things that are coming. So think about this. Drones, as they're calling it on the news, they would be an extreme danger to aeroplanes, to other air traffic, especially because they were flying high. And I know there's quite a few airports there in New Jersey, not to mention the extreme risk this would be to our national security. So why is the military allowing this to happen? What's their deal, friends? Well, likely because the military is behind it. Come on now already. If they tell you they don't know what it is, they know exactly what it is. Please, don't believe a word that they tell you. It's their own testing that they're doing, along with other things, because these were spotted over DT's golf course in New Jersey, along with the Delaware River between Philadelphia and New Jersey, where I come from. And my friends that live in Croydon, Pennsylvania, and some people I saw on social media post it from Croydon, Pennsylvania, the same unidentified crafts or drones. They do kind of look like drones. They probably are. So drones would show up on certain radar apps. There's certain apps you can download on your phone that tell you where all the planes are that are flying over your head, and you can click on the plane and see what it is and all that. There's that guy also follows him. What's he? Monkey Works dude. I bet you he probably did a piece on this. I don't really watch him frequently, but I bet you he did something on this. I'm going to have to go look. Not that I really have time. So they would show up on these apps, right? They would totally show up on this apps. Well, check this clip out, because in this clip, only one drone shows up on the app, while close to a dozen of them continue to hover over in the skies. None of them showing up as drones on this tracker app. Check it out.
Okay, so when I say that there are literally hundreds of drones in the sky, I don't mean at one moment. They are coming across the sky at high numbers. So here I am in Lebanon Borough, and there's a drone, there's a drone, there's a drone, there's a drone, there's a drone. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 6 right there. So, oh, and wait, 7. So there's 7 or 8 drones out here, and there is nothing on flight radar 24. So when I say there is one down further, way further south, all right, coming north, I'm right here in Lebanon, right there. And so when I say literally hundreds, not at the moment, but they are constantly here. They're constantly passing by. So if I stayed out here for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, there would definitely be 100 or so. So they just keep coming. They are nonstop passing by. They follow the same pattern. They come from the southwest. You can see them kind of popping over right here. They're coming, they're making their way, and they fly over.
Now, what do you think about that? No coincidences there, friends. Now, the military would have that capability of flying a drone and making it not show up on the radars. But one of them did. Maybe they forgot to flick the switch to keep it off the radar. Now, this is where I think things get really, really interesting. Now, check this out, friends. This is really interesting. Did you know in 1952, there were lots of sightings over the Capitol building in Washington, D.C.? You've probably seen the stories, heard the stories about it. 1952, which happened to be an 8-year in numerology, an 8 vibration. What are we in right now? We are in an 8 vibrational year. Infinite possibilities. Not that that has anything to do with UFOs. The 7 would actually have more to do with UFOs, in my opinion. But it gets in more interesting, because we had those sightings in 1952, a 7-year, and that was in July, which is a 7-month, come to think of it. And it happened for 17 days in a row. 17 days. 17. 7 plus 1 is 8. There's the 8 vibration again. Now, some are stating it's 71 years later that this occurrence is happening over that Air Force base or that, military base a couple months back. 71 years would make it an 8 vibration again. But I looked back, and if you actually add 1952 to the current time, it's actually 72 years. So whoever put that out there, they were incorrect in their timing. 72 years later. But the occurrence that happened over the Air Force Base also happened for 17 days. So, and it all adds up to that 8 vibration, friends. I just thought that was very interesting. Not that it means anything, I just thought it was really interesting. I don't believe in coincidences, especially when it comes to numbers, sacred geometry, all of that. No coincidences. So the increase in real UFO activity is also a sign from galactic beings who are watching ever so closely right now, according to Spirit, in hopes that the awakening of humanity will prevent us from blowing up the planet once again. Once again? Well, yeah, if you look back at history, it's happened before. It's happened before. It's in the legends. It's in the ancient scripts. It's in the ancient, I forget how to pronounce it, but the ancient thing in India. It's all listed in there. That a great war took place in the skies. So it's happened. And they don't want that to happen again. But, we got good ones and we got bad ones. Could it be them fighting over our survival? It's going to be interesting, to say the least. So overall, many of these drone types of sky activity, especially around New Jersey, Spirit shows me is a combination of underground secret military, the Black Ops. Spirit also shows me that some of these events are also tied directly to China, of course. While a very limited few, according to Spirit, are actually galactic beings from another planet or another solar system, letting us know that they have arrived, except their ships would be more massive in comparison. They wouldn't be little drones. They'd be much, much bigger. Spirit also showed me a vision, this was really interesting, of a very large spaceship. And I do mean very large, almost as big as the moon itself. And what I saw in the vision is I saw this very large ship literally parked behind the moon on the dark side of the moon. I see you on the dark side of the moon. Big spaceship. And according to Spirit, with a little luck, someone may actually be able to capture the ship peeking out or poking out from the moon. And perhaps they may even get some photo evidence. So we hold that in the light, friends. Hold that in the light. And if you've got a high-powered telescope, keep an eye on that moon, friends. You might see the ship peeking around the corner, saying peekaboo. So activity is going to increase, especially in 2025 when we see ships actually landing here on Earth. Along with the crashed ship footage that I've been predicting for a while, that will actually be nothing more than a false flag intended to shift people's beliefs in UFOs and the harm that they will cause us, even though they won't. So watch what they tell you and the fear that they instill on you. I also feel strongly that the window between December 21st and December 25th is going to bring about more sky phenomenon, including major sightings over both Israel, Iran, and throughout South America. Oh, and Spirit said, don't forget Washington, D.C. That'll be interesting. That's what we're going to see. And Spirit says that too. We're also going to see important capitals like, Washington, D.C., for example, and all the capitals of countries is where you're going to see the real galactic beings showing up above those areas, above parliaments, above important places, above Israel. So that's going to get interesting, friends. And I'm going to try to keep this short. I know I have lots of subjects to talk about, but unfortunately, due to the events that have played out in my life over the past week, I shouldn't even be doing a show at all, but I'm doing a show to keep my mind off things. And then I got to work on 2025 predictions and start packing and go away and plan. Yeah, you get it. Anyway, Taiwan has been coming to my mind very strongly this week, which makes me feel that two major events are about to hit Taiwan. One being a major earthquake, perhaps even tsunami waves, followed by a conflict with China. As much as I dislike bringing negative news, friends, we already know, we already have been, we're already in WW3. No matter what they're telling you, we're already in it. The difference is it's a different type of conflict. And people aren't calling it WW3 because they're expecting it to look like, say, World War II or something. It's much different this time. Much different. So it's already really begun. Spirit said it already started. Already begun. But it's going to be a different type of conflict. And it's not going to be called WW3 until a nuclear device ignites. And then the world will realize that it's actually happening. That's likely what Baba Vanga meant by fire. The world will burn. That world, those parts of the world, not good, friends. Let's hold in the light. We can shift things. Remember that we have the power. You got the power. I also had a vision. This is a little concerning, maybe concerning to some. I had a vision of a large wave hitting the United States. And it wasn't the West Coast, friends. And it was a big wave. And I had that vision yesterday sitting here. I was sitting over there in that chair doing something, probably working on my 2025. Or actually, I was working on this last night. And just this vision came out of nowhere, just overwhelmed me. I have this huge wave. I'm going to clarify that more specifically with more details in my 2025 predictions, with full details. So be sure to subscribe and vibe with our tribe. Smash that subscribe and keep an eye out for multiple 2025 prediction videos. I already put out multiple videos. I did a channeling 2025 video. I did top 8, top 10. So make sure you check those out if you missed them. Cryptocurrencies. I just want to mention this real quick because I started to look into cryptocurrencies and invest in my own. And they did really amazing until I haven't looked lately. Until I think yesterday. Oh, let me find it. It went down drastically. And I do mean drastically. Well, it depends what coins you're looking at too, of course. Oh, it's going back up a little bit again. But no, it went down quite a bit. A lot of them went down quite a bit. XRP took a dive. It's moving back up now, I see. A lot of them took dives. Bitcoin, I don't even see where'd Bitcoin go. They all took a dive, friends. All of them. And it seems like they're starting to move up a little bit again. But what I started to throw my money into, just so you know where I'm going with this, XRP. The X, the R, the P. The X, the R, the P. Now, again, remember, it's a risk like playing the casinos. I was hoping it would drop a little more. It dropped earlier today, but I wasn't watching it because I was hanging out with you. It dropped down to $1.90. Damn. Darn. That's when I would have went in and bought a bunch more. But I did not. And I do expect it to go down again. These markets are going to fluctuate so much, including silver was just down to $30.80, and now it's back up again. So you got to watch these markets really close because that's what Spirit told us was going to happen. There were going to be dips, small dips, and then huge gains. And dips and gains. Dips and gains. Dips and gains. XRP is where to go, friends. I am convinced that XRP is going to make a lot of millionaires in the future. XRP is going to likely, be as big as Bitcoin 10 years down the road. Might even be bigger. Bitcoin just dropped to 97,000. Bitcoin was up over 100,000. First time ever. And I could see, I don't know how far out, maybe 10 years longer, some of them going up to $500,000. And I'm certainly hoping that XRP is one of them because that's the one I'm in a bunch of them actually. But that's the one I have, Bitcoin's the one I have the most in. And I just leave it sit there. I'm not even touching it. It's just like sitting there. Whereas XRP would be the one I'm second most in. And then, what was the other one? Uniswap. But mainly XRP. And I wanted to share that with you because that's my strong feeling. Because I feel like, and I'll confirm this because I said to Spirit, if I need to put a certain amount of money in that money will show up in my life within the next 30 days. So when that money shows up in my life and I throw it in there, I will let you know. That'll be between now and mid-January. So keep your eyes peeled. Now, Trump has made some very concerning and very interesting choices in his cabinet. Spirit warned that he needed to watch those he surrounds himself with. And it's true, he's surrounding himself with a bunch of warmongers. 100%. Not all good people at all. Some of them are going to make major changes like the FBI. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a whole big shifting of 3-letter date agencies. Spirit told us that sometime in the past 6 months. Now we know it's going to happen. But here's a big change. Remember, I saw in visions and things that there'd be a big change in the health and foods and things coming to light with our foods. Not just America, but throughout the world. And we're starting to see that happen. People are becoming more focused on foods, eating healthy foods. Remember the Amish people? Remember that whole thing? That's why they all gathered together and voted the first time ever, and they all voted for DT. because they were raided by the government, remember? And they took all their raw cheese and raw milk and raw eggs and all the raw stuff. Not raw eggs, but raw milk and all. They don't want you to have that because it's probably the healthiest thing you can actually have over the processed crap. They confiscated all. And now you notice there's this big alleged raw milk recall now. They say it's got the bird bug in it. Other milks don't, but that one does. Because they're processed and the processing makes it no worries. Which it could be true. Who knows? I'm not a health expert. But I'm an expert on knowing that they lie to us about everything. Everything. And they go after the good people. They go after the Amish people. They go after the natural farmers. That's about to end, friends. Big time. Because now Trump has chosen the lunatic farmer. Have you ever heard of him? The lunatic farmer as his important role alongside of Bobby Kennedy. And it's a huge role. You can look up the lunatic farmer. I'm way past time, and I have a few more things I wanted to share with you and a couple other predictions. And I didn't get time to find the lunatic farmer and read about it, but you can read about him. They call him the lunatic farmer, but because he's doing things right, that's why they're calling him a lunatic. When they title you and label you as something like that, like a lunatic, we have to look very closely at those labels. They labeled DT as a dictator, right? As a, WW2 kind of guy. We won't say his name, but they've been saying that. I think he would have been a dictator by now. And I don't see that happening when he goes in again either. No dictator. Not happening. So when they label someone a lunatic farmer, why we see them attacking farms all over the world, you should be concerned. And you should look deeper into the lunatic farmer because he's probably a good friend of our tribe. And with him alongside of Bobby Kennedy, is going to make my past predictions. It's going to have my past predictions, not make, but it's going to have them come into fruition with the changing of health of Americans. Foods being banned, chemicals being banned, and that's why both Bobby Kennedy and now the lunatic farmer and their families are in grave danger. They are toiling with the darkness. When you play with the darkness strikes. They hit you like the scorpions or the snakes. That's better yet. They're a bunch of snakes, a bunch of vipers. So they are going to make major changes that are going to be amazing. Our foods are banned in over 30 countries, American foods. That's going to end too. More people are going to be going to healthy eating. And in some cases, we're going to be forced to go to healthy eating because there's going to be no other choices. And as long as that choice is a good choice, I guess that doesn't really matter, right? Even if there is no other choice, as long as it's a good choice. Yeah, so they are recalling the raw milk. And media is putting it right in our face, right? Right in our faces. Yeah, it's the raw milk and the bird bug and bird bug. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Are we about to step into a time period where we have a flashback to 2020 lockdowns? They would love that, wouldn't they? But you got to remember what Spirit said a few years ago. The next future lockdowns will be not necessarily the whole globe, but certain areas due to global stuff. Climate, things like that. That's how you stay indoors. And it'll be one of those voluntary lockdowns where people ain't going to want to go out in certain areas because of volcanoes or whatever else is going on. As far as bugs, I mean, it's in the prophecies. There'd be more bugs coming in the future. But I want you to listen to what the media, mass media, put right in our faces. Because remember, the last bug came when DT was serving his first term. Right? And it was unleashed. And that's another one I didn't get a chance to work on because of what's going on in my life right now. But I wanted to do another second video on this. I did a video back in 2016, maybe 2017, about the Hopi prophecy of the true white brother who comes from the east with many in his following, who wears a red cap or cloak that's here to make certain things happen. And if he fails at his mission, the red ants come across the sea in the nighttime, affecting every city in the world, in America. I thought back in the day, the red ants would have been, China invading. What happened? When Trump, who wears the red cap, he's cloaked with a red tie. What happened? When he failed at his mission. The red ants is the bug, the 2020 bug. If you look at it, it's red. Remember? That's the red ants. So I got to go deeper into that prophecy, and I will. When I get back from traveling to the funeral, I will go deeper into that stuff. But I want you to check this out real quick and how they're putting it right in our faces, what they want to do. Check it out.
We have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mentioned H5N1, that I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry. And that's just the beginning. We have another major coronavirus likely brewing, but there's still more. We know that we have a big problem with mosquito transmitted viruses all along the Gulf Coast where I am here in Texas. So we're expecting dengue and possibly Zika virus coming back, or a Puche virus, maybe even yellow fever. And there's more. Then we have all this sharp rise in vaccine preventable diseases going up because of, in part, the anti-vaccine activism that's so prominent right now. We have a 5-fold rise in pertussis cases, whooping cough over the last year, 15 measles outbreaks this year. We've got polio that's been in the wastewater in New York State. All that's going to come crashing down on January 21st on the Trump administration. We need a really, really good team to be able to handle this.
See what I said, friends? Right in our faces, like they always do. Right in our faces. So why the 21st inauguration day? Why is that going to be a day to worry? Be concerned. They're already pushing the bird bug. They're going to push that even more because the bird bug is going to become a bigger thing. We're going to have to be more aware of the mosquitoes. And remember the millions of mosquitoes that Gates dumped in Florida and other places. And now we're seeing things that we've never seen in Florida and Texas in the way of mosquito-borne diseases. No coincidence. We're dealing with a group of very wealthy, very narcissistic psychopaths who believe in their minds that what they're doing is for the good of the world. They believe that. That's how sick they are. Talk about some mental illness right there. Woo, baby, yeah. So anyway, our friends in Indonesia, they're having this great big eruption that's happening of a massive volcano and evacuations that are happening just as Spirit told us. While we just saw the big earthquake that happened up there in California and a couple other things. I want you to check out this clip right here, what Spirit said about this and the whole earthquake thing. Check it out. I see 3 locations that are being hit around the same time by big earthquakes off the west coast. So one of these is going to bring a small tsunami wave to both United States west coast and Hawaii. It felt small to me. So I felt 3 earthquakes. I felt one like right at like mid-California, maybe like right around above Los Angeles, which I've been seeing for a while. One up higher in the United States towards Washington, and then one out at the water, on the edge of the water. I feel like they're all sort of, I would assume, associated with each other. So I felt 3 earthquakes, and one of them happening off the coast, bringing a small, tiny tsunami wave to the west coast, California, and Hawaii. We saw that small tsunami wave hit the coast of California. I don't know about Hawaii. Our friends in Hawaii, let us know if you had a little wave hit you. It would have been tiny, I would imagine, if it made it that far. And this could likely be the first one. Spirit said to watch the 3 earthquakes, and then also told us to watch the 3 volcanoes. And I believe this is the first. This California quake is the first warning, along with the Indonesian volcano. Soon we're going to see major volcanic activity. 7 is the key, says the Spirit. 7 is the key. Remember the number 7, the sacred 7. I take that as likely 7 volcanic eruptions all happening within the span of, say, 72 hours. One of those volcanoes is going to unleash in the United States of America. That will be the warning for the big earthquake that will hit afterwards. So we have to keep our eyes peeled on this, and I'll go more into depth in my 2025 predictions, and I will do specifically a 2025 weather prediction video as well. So keep your eyes peeled, and don't forget to vibe with the tribe. You got to smash that there subscribe, friends. I didn't realize how late it is getting already, and I got lots of editing to do, so this is going to be a late one tonight. And I got so much to do. I should have took off today, but I didn't because I love my tribe and I really want to take my mind away. Julia Roberts comes in my mind. Don't know why. It's in my notes for 2025. I'll tune in deeper. But whatever it is, it felt controversial. It didn't feel very positive for her. So I don't know what she's going to be dealing with in her life. And I don't focus on celebrities, by the way. And I don't really do celebrity predictions. Maybe I will for 2025, but I don't. But she popped in my mind. So I wasn't even focusing. So something's happening around Julia Roberts. Maybe she's, well, of course she's wrapped into that web of darkness. I also see a record amount of closures coming on properties. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because it's mostly going to be due to unpaid taxes and other reasons. So beware, friends, beware. Because I feel BlackRock is sitting in the background waiting to jump on these opportunities as quickly as they can. Not only to jump on these opportunities, but I feel like it's opportunity that they're creating. Somehow or another, they're creating this thing where there's going to be major amounts of closures coming on people's properties. This is global, not just United States. Now, artificial intelligence and robots, I had a vision of them literally in conflict fighting. But even more disturbing, I saw robots patrolling the streets like military. Like RoboCop, friends. Like RoboCop. I don't know where I was. I felt like I was overseas somewhere else. Something we're going to be seeing in the future. They won't need police officers. They'll have police robots. That's creepy to me. Very creepy. Especially when they gather together and decide to go against the humans. Just like in the movies. The movies know everything. I see Elon Musk with some type of a health issue arising in the coming years. And I believe this is going to be related to the big C, which in turn is going to have him pushing for different treatments or cures. Some which, of course, they're going to hide from us in the beginning. But remember, no matter what people say to you, I believe, well, I don't believe, it's obvious that Elon is a very big part of the global elite. So I don't believe him and I don't trust him, just saying. But when it comes to disease, he might have some good amazing breakthroughs with the big C. Something to look forward to. But again, Spirit made me feel like it was hidden from us first. Of course they hide it from us. They don't want everybody to know. They want depopulation. Giving you the cure to the disease like cancer or diabetes doesn't help depopulate the planet. It doesn't help their agenda. They keep these things from us. Remember what Spirit said, inventions and creations are going to happen on such a mass scale that they're not going to be able to prevent it. You know, when you got 1,000 people across the globe inventing the same, we'll just use an example, a box that creates free energy, then how are you going to stop it when you got them all over the world all happening at the same exact time? That's how it's going to play out. So I also see China is in for some major issues themselves. Economic woes will be a big part of China's push for conflict and their push to take over Taiwan and other areas. China is going to prove to be extremely dangerous in the coming months and throughout 2025. Another thing to look forward to, especially depending on where you live in the globe, especially over in Europe, there's going to be major, massive internet outages. Remember, this reminded me something. A vision. Remember a vision Spirit showed us of a switch being turned off? Well, showed me. I just saw a switch being turned off. Like someone has a switch and the ability to just reach over and turn everything off. Especially the internet and communications. So that's where I feel like there's an outage. And they're going to probably tell us it's some other reason or cause of this outage, but it's literally somebody walking up and turning off the switch to keep people from communicating. So find another source of communication, friends. If you have family and friends, within even a couple miles of where you live, they have those little walkie-talkies that go up to 5 miles. They work great. As a matter of fact, they're going to get a set. I used to have them back in the day. You can get them. They're not that expensive. If you have your kid lives down the way, make sure everybody in the family has one of them. So if something happened, you can communicate. Because if the internet's down, so is your cell phone and everything else. So just be aware of these things. And don't panic when it happens. It'll all come back on eventually. Friends. Last week when I was doing the live, for some reason my audio went out. I've been having that problem thanks to the Mercury retrograde. And I was showing you this cool American Eagle silver coin that was sent to me from Jackie. Was it Jackie? Yes. Dear Joseph, I have been following your YouTube channel for a long time and want to say thank you for everything. Here is a token of my appreciation. This would be a great addition to your prepping supplies. Yes, Jackie, thank you so much. You didn't hear my thank you this week. Hopefully you hear it this week. And someone sent me from, who was it? Where'd it go? Kelly? Is it Kelly? Wendy sent me some Yorkshire tea that got smushed. I tried it. It's pretty good tea from England. I have so much tea. And that, man, Wendy, you know how much, look at all the tea in that bag. This tea would last me a year or longer. And she sent me this really delicious fudge. I already ate a piece. The Sweet Emporium. It's custard fudge. Vanilla custard fudge, which I was like, that's interesting. Oh, it's so good. Thank you, Kelly in England, or Wendy in England. I'm sorry. I'm getting twisted. I've been here all day. And then one of my students and peeps, Irene, sent me this book. I want to let you know, Irene, I did get this book that we talked about on our Zoom call, Total Annihilation. And I will be taking this with me for my aeroplane ride because it is a very easy read book. So I will scan through this while I'm on the aeroplane. I could probably scan through 5 of these on the airplane because it's a long plane ride. It's a long ride. And my friend Cheryl sent me something, but I wasn't already able to open it, and I'll save it for later. Other than that, friends, I must leave you with that. Please do remember, I will not be here next week. I may have some content put out on Tuesday next week, so keep an eye out. It'll be, if I can have time, I don't know if I am going to have time, but I will be doing my live 2025 predictions on Sunday on a Zoom call. That'll be recorded and broken down and put out in separate videos. Keep an eye out for them. But I don't know if I'll have time to get one of those edited before I leave. So if I do, I do. Maybe I'll go live on Tuesday. You never know. But don't plan on me being here. And if I do show up, take it as a good surprise. Good surprise. Other than that, I'll see you when I get back from my trip and all of that. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day, a magical solstice that's coming up. Of course, a very Merry Christmas, but I will definitely see you before Christmas because I'll be with you on Christmas Eve. You can spend Christmas Eve with me. And perhaps I'll do that show live instead of pre-recorded. We'll have to see. We'll be out of the direct retrograde, so it'll be easier for that to flow with more ease and joy. Other than that, friends, remember to celebrate life, celebrate you, be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And as my sign says over there, remember to be bold, be true, woo, be kind, be you, friends. Let your light shine. And have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. And much love, friends.